Warning. This program may contain material of an explicit or graphic nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Broadcasting undead from the B ward, this is Post Mortem. I'm Dom.
And I'm JD, and today we're going to bring you our top 5 horror movies based on books.
It's a literature episode.
It is, for all you learned folks.
Right. The literary people. The people who wear smoking jackets and sit in high back chairs next to fireplaces.
Much like the graphic of this episode.
Yeah. Biffsterpiece theater.
Yeah.
So, before we go into our normal segment, I want to touch on something that we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
I tried to give Unsolved Mysteries with Dennis Farina a chance.
Uh-huh.
It's so fucking bad.
It's
fucking abysmal. Like, all they did was they took old episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, cut those stories down, but it's still like the same old, like, dated, like, 80s, 90s, like, shooting style and costumes and stuff.
Yeah. Square.
Have Dennis Farina talking on over it instead of Robert Stack. And then they show a little, like, 30-second blurb of an update of what they found since the first thing first aired.
Yeah.
And it's always nothing. Because it continues to be an unsolved mystery. And Dennis Farina is a terrible fucking host. He's not creepy. I mean, I guess he used to be a cop, so that's, like, how he got in there. But he's not creepy like Robert Stack was. There's no sense of foreboding, like... You know, I mean, he's dead, so you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but fuck you, Dennis Farina. Fuck your ghost.
That was going to be I was going to say update since our last episode, you know, when we done a rating system of sex-offending Dennis Farina.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah. So now we don't have to worry about getting sued.
So this episode's rating system will be necrophilia, Dennis Farina.
Dennis Farina necrophilia.
Just joking, we don't need him in 2 rating systems, so... God damn it. I heard that in an update, though, I did hear that they are adding the Robert Stack episodes.
Okay, good.
They've announced that. It's coming.
Good. I'll wait.
Cleanse our palate of this Farina. But before we get into our good, bad movie of the week and the top 5 movies based on books, we got some horror news. Horror news! So, Netflix has set a February 3rd release date for a new horror comedy called The Santa Clarita Diet. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I heard it's good.
It will star Drew Barrymore as a suburban mom who is also a cannibal.
Yeah.
Drew and her husband, played by Timothy Oliphant, are realtors in Santa Clarita who have a teenage daughter, and their lives change forever when she starts to eat everyone in town who acts like a dick. She only eats the bad people.
Okay, that's good. If you're going to be a cannibal, you may as well.
There are 2 brief promotional promos up on YouTube that are fake commercials for the diet, like it's a real diet plan.
Nice. With
the husband and wife endorsing it, the Santa Clarita diet plan of being a cannibal. Looks like a dark comedy more than straight horror, and I'm a fan of Oliphant.
Yeah.
And used to have the hots for Drew Barrymore back in the day, you know, her Playboy years when she was a little younger, you know.
A little wilder.
Yeah, a little wilder.
Her Miley Cyrus years.
Yeah, she's real goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be checking this one out.
Is it a show or is it a movie?
It's a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard, like, pre-review things about it that's supposed to be very good, so I'll be checking it out.
February 3rd.
Cool. So, I have Netflix news also. This is something that I'm extremely excited about because this is something that was, like, formational for me as a kid. But last week it was announced that the new season of Mystery Science Theater 3000 not only reached its crowdfunding goal, but they have entered a distribution deal with Netflix to release the new episode.
Awesome.
The continuation of the show will feature Nerdist's Jonah Ray as the experiment victim Jonah Heston. The classic robots, Crow and Tom Servo, will be back, though voiced by new voice talents. Felicia Day will play Kinga Forrester, daughter of Dr. Forrester from the original show.
I like her.
And Patton Oswalt will be playing son of TV's Frank.
Patton Oswalt of Dude Bro Party Massacre 3
Yeah.
fame.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's the best thing he's ever done. I don't like that guy.
I think he's funny. I like his stand-up comedy. Series creator Joel Hodgson is tagged as lead writer and producer of the show, and they've already got Mark Hamill tagged as a guest appearance.
Nice.
So I'm very excited about this. I was a little bit, questioning of it when I originally didn't hear that Joel Hodgson was going to be involved. I had heard that it was going to be some of the College Humor people, some of the Nerdist people, but not Mike Nelson, not Trace Bulio, or any of the people who were originally involved in it.
Yeah,
and
that
I was
always
like,
hurts. Yeah.
This is going to be a cheesy, shitty thing.
Yeah.
But Joel Hodgson is heading it, so that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I love Mystery Science Theater.
Yep. So Netflix, it'll be they'll basically make an episode, put it on Netflix, make an episode, put it on Netflix for the foreseeable future.
That's awesome. Yeah, they need to. Yeah, Netflix does so good and so bad with the fucking shitty horror movies of Netflix.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them. Why? Don't even put it on there.
Amazon Prime has shittier horror movies.
I know Amazon Prime is horrible.
They have horror movies that don't even make it to IMDb.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like that horror hotel movie I reviewed a while back. So, one thing that is not shitty is when I was a kid, I always was a Super Nintendo guy, not a Sega Genesis guy. Mm. Super Nintendo all the way, Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, that kind of stuff. But there was one game that got me on my friend's Sega that I really liked. And it's getting a remake in 2017. Mutant League Football. Remember Mutant League Football?
I don't like sports games, and I fucking love that game.
Yeah, I like hockey games, that's about it. But I fucking love Mutant League Football. Monsters, skeletons, zombies killing each other.
Killing the referee, putting bombs in the football.
Yeah, on a field full of landmines. The original creators are back in charge of the remake.
Nice.
Which is going to hit Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC later this year.
There was a Mutant League Hockey that came out too, but it was different developers. Yeah. And it was not as good.
Well,
but Mutant League Football was the shit.
With that being said, I have my fingers crossed for a Mutant League Hockey reboot. Even though it wasn't as good as the football game, hockey games are much funner to me than football games. I hate Madden and shit. Yeah. I don't have the patience for it. Yeah. But hockey is really fun to play. That's actually what got me into watching hockey when I was a kid. Was NHL '94 Super Nintendo game. That's how I got into the Penguins and into watching hockey when I was little, and then came back to it. When I first had my first kid, and came back to it recently, last year, and been diehard into hockey again. So
I love that Super Nintendo NCAA game, the very first one where you pass the ball to the player and the camera would switch to behind them. Yeah, and it was almost a first-person view. I don't give a fuck about sports in general. But
NBA Jam was good too.
Was it
NBA Jam where the ball gets on fire? The
nice
Super Nintendo game. That was pretty fun.
You know what needs a reboot is Arch Rivals. That game was fucking fun.
What was that?
It was like a 1980s basketball arcade game, but you could punch in it. And the referee would
Prison Rules.
Yeah, pretty much. But there's a referee. And if he was looking towards you when you punch, you would get called on it. So you'd have to wait for the ref to look away, and then you could punch the guy to get him away from you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool game.
Altered Beast needs a remake.
Fuck yes.
Altered Beast. That's it for our nostalgia Super Nintendo and Sega game remake chapter of horror news.
I was a Genesis kid because that's what I had, but going back and playing the games now, Super Nintendo has much better games.
Oh yeah, Super Nintendo has much better games than most other consoles.
Yeah, Genesis had a few gems, but the gems to shit ratio was much greater than Super Nintendo.
I was a huge into the Japanese RPG kind of games like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, Secret of Evermore, all that kind of stuff. I still love those games. I still play them, but I hate the PlayStation RPGs.
Yeah, they made it too complicated.
Yeah, it's anime. I want cartoon, not anime.
Yeah.
All right, what you got next?
Beware the Slender Man is coming out on HBO Television, HBO Now, HBO Go, and HBO On Demand Monday, January 31st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We've talked about it before. The documentary tells the story of the two 12-year-old girls who lured their friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times, then confessed that they did it to appease the Slender Man. I'll be reviewing this when it comes out.
Yeah, maybe we should do it at the movies because I really want to see this fucker too. And this is kind of like... when you have the girl that you've always had the hots for that you want to bone. Yeah. And finally get to do it.
So now we're both going to bone the girl?
And it sucks. Yeah, we're gonna do some post-mortem DP.
Okay. So if it sucks, at least we did it together?
Yeah, but then if it sucks, it lets down. Have you had that experience? Yeah. Or just things you look forward to for a long time. Now it's finally coming out, and all the hype, and it's been pushed back a couple times. That makes me a little leery. But
But they added to it. That's why they pushed back. They added to it because the trial happened.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The trial
yeah.
happened after the initial documentary was made, so they shot additional footage and tagged it on.
They had to get that good Doug Jones interview at the end.
Exactly. That's exactly what they needed.
Beware the Doug Jones. I'm going to make my own documentary where we stalk Doug Jones. And it's more like Beware of Us. It's him Beware of Us. I told you, stop knocking at my door. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's going to be good. So, I have some real-life horror comedy news.
Okay.
Magician and douchebag David Blaine shot himself in the throat accidentally while performing a magic trick.
Wow.
While attempting the stunt where a rifle is going to shoot him and he has a little metal shot glass in his mouth and he's going to catch it, the shot glass came out of place and his mouth slipped and he almost blew his own fucking head off.
Wow.
You can watch this debacle on YouTube after lacerating the back of his throat with hot metal because it cut it off of the cup. He didn't die. It just cut the back of his throat because the cup fell apart.
Right.
He was taken away in an ambulance. Kids, don't try this at home.
Professionals don't try this at home.
Today's rating system, suicidal David Blaine.
Fuck.
Fucking idiot. I hate that guy.
Yeah, I watched the documentary where he froze himself.
Yeah.
And it's cool that he does those tricks. It's cool that he takes his crap seriously and everything. But fuck, man, don't act don't tell the world that you're special. Let the world determine that you're special for the shit that you do.
You know what though? He is not the worst magician. You know who is? Chris Angel.
Fuck.
That guy is a total douche.
I would fight him.
Yeah.
I would fight him in real life.
He'd block you with the power of his mind.
Yeah, or he'd mind freak me.
I hate that fucking Suicidal David Blaine's today's rating system.
All right. So hints have been dropped on social media since January 1st that production may be recommencing on Before the Mask, the return of Leslie Vernon this year.
Hell yeah.
After being inactive for over a year, the Before the Mask Facebook page announced, "It's about time to dust this old thing off. 2017 seems like a good year." Actor Nathan Basil, who played the titular character of Leslie Vernon, shared the post writing, "Maybe something good will come out of 2017 yet."
That's awesome. And, dusting it off, that's like when you have an elderly woman who, back in her prime, she could grind.
Right.
She got that grind on. You dust off that pelt, and it's still good.
Dust off that pelt?
Dust that pelt. Pelt dusting. Pelt dusters. Post Mortem brand pelt dusters. We're going to sell them at the old folks home we work at.
They'd probably make some money.
There's some dusty-ass pelts in that place.
And some nasty ass people, man. Not nasty like gross. I mean, there's some gross ass people too, but there's
the dick guy that only talks about his dick.
He went home. But there's some people that are really fucking sexually suggestive about some of the shit that they say.
Yeah, that's a component of dementia.
Yeah,
shit,
and
they lose their inhibition.
They're just old and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. They say whatever they want.
We've got this one resident who's a long-term resident, and she's cool, but she's got really bad dementia, and she just says weird shit sometimes. And she rolls up to me today, our time clock is on the main floor, so I get to work, and I'm going to the time clock, and she rolls up to me in her wheelchair, and she grabs my hand, and she goes, "I want you to go home and tell your wife that she's got a Superman on her hands." And I said, "Well, thank you, but I prefer Batman." And she looks at me really close, and she goes, "Then you go home and tell her that she's dealing with the bat." And then she rolls away.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I was grabbed by an old lady in an old folks' home.
Not that way.
Not that way, though.
Yeah.
She said, "I don't want no more of that hanky-panky." With her gaunt skeletal face, it was the most terrifying moment of my life.
We've got those two. We've got one that saves her shit.
In jars?
And throws it at people.
I love it.
And at one point, I went into a room.
Zengaya! Call her that. That's her nickname now, Zengaya.
I went into her room, and I guess they'd found her shit stash and had taken it away. And I went into her room.
I want my dumps back.
I have to talk to people when they do shit like that, but what do I say? So I'm like, "Hey, you're not supposed to save that, blah, blah, blah," doing my normal spiel. And she's like, "If you come here again, I'm going to take all the shit that I have and throw it at you." All right, cool. I'm out. I'm not coming back. I haven't been back to that room since.
I kind of have this mental image of an old lady in a schmuck with one of those Ghostbusters backpacks, shooting streams of ecto shit all over you.
And she looks like the stereotypical old witch in the woods with the hook nose and the
big moles.
Yeah,
questionable
exactly.
moles that you don't know where are they cancerous or not. Where did they come from?
Maybe it's actually feces that she's hiding on herself, disguising it as moles. Shit moles.
Well, like I said, the official Post Mortem pelt dusters. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get those pogo heads of Biff and just glue some feathers that we find in the street to the end of it. That's it.
That's all it is. That's a pelt duster.
You only need a couple feathers.
Right.
Hopefully it's not a large area.
Right.
Yeah. That's it for horror news.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it for the show, man.
We're spent. We're not spent because we're going to come back with the good movie and the bad movie.
That's right.
And I have a fucking excellent movie.
Cool. I've got a really good one, too. And for the listeners, if this episode sounds a little bit weird sound-wise, we're only working off one microphone because my car broke down and I left the mic in there when I sent it to the mechanic shop like an asshole. So
Dom's sitting on my lap. We're sharing. We're snuggling.
We're playing ventriloquist dummy. He's actually got his hand up the back of my shirt and is scratching between my shoulders to make my mouth move.
Only if the back of your shirt consists of your butthole. I'm elbow deep.
I'm all up in there.
I'm elbow deep.
Giving me the Kermit.
With that being said, we'll be back. Maybe.
Hi, thanks for listening to the Post Mortem podcast. If you want to support us, go to our website at www.postmortemshow.com and click the Amazon link.
By clicking on the Amazon banner, Amazon will give a small percentage of the purchase price of your item back to the Post Mortem podcast at no additional cost to you. That's right. It doesn't cost you any money. We get money. You want us to keep doing this? You want more Doug Jones talk? You want more dick and fart talk? I don't care. We're going to do it.
Fund our filthy, filthy habits.
Yes, and they are many and they are fast.
And most of them aren't legal.
Yes. Click the banner. Just do it.
Come on, don't be a dick. Give us money.
It's time for the good movie. And the bad movie.
Yeah. And I got a fucking good movie this week.
Nice. I'm excited.
And it's streaming on Netflix so everyone can see it.
I watched Autopsy of Jane Doe after you reviewed it. Same night, actually. That movie was fucking good.
It was.
I watched it 3 times, or 2 more times since then.
Isn't it so good that you don't think it's going to be that good when you start watching it, but it goes directions you don't see coming.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't realize that Emil Hirsch was the lead actor in it, because usually he plays like a kind of like angsty, angry kid character with like the screwed up face. Yeah. And he didn't do that this time, and like the cop was the fucking dude who's got the scales on his hand now in Game of Thrones. All these people are like, I watched it by myself the first time. It was good. I showed it to Michelle the second time.
Dad is awesome too.
Yeah.
He's always in Jack Ketchum movies.
Yeah.
Which may come up later in our top 5 when we get to the movies based on books.
Yeah.
But
Brian Cox, very solid actor.
Great actor, yeah. Super Troopers is not his typecasting role.
Good special effects, except for that little CG fire sequence. But all the autopsy stuff was fucking
it was
amazing.
Yeah.
They did their homework.
And it was scary.
Yeah.
It had some jump scares, not just jump scares, but it was a scary movie.
Yeah, very good atmosphere.
I watched it in the dark completely here with all the lights off and stuff like that, by myself with no interruptions. Turned my phone on silent.
Did you sit on your hand till it got numb and then jerked off?
That was after.
Oh, okay.
It's like, that's a fucking good movie. Yeah! Yeah! It's part of my review.
Right.
But let's get to the bad movies first.
All right. So, I'll start. My bad movie is a 2016 supernatural horror directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, Abattoir.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go on record as saying that I didn't hate this movie.
I sure did.
I liked it definitely more than you did. I'm not going to call it an awful piece of crap, but it had some unnecessary flaws that made it mediocre when it could have been very good.
I would go as far as saying that my worst movie of the year in our Mortys was The Darkness. Mm-hmm. That was because I hadn't seen Abattoir yet.
Wow. That's extreme.
Yeah.
So, the synopsis is that there's a journalist, her family is murdered. She returns to their home a month later only to find that it's been sold and that the mysterious buyer totally gutted the room where the murder took place. She and her cop boyfriend investigate the strange occurrence and find that several other houses where murders have taken place have been purchased by the same person, only to have the crime scenes gutted and the houses resold. As they dig deeper, they find a small town inhabited by a cult led by a demonic snake oil salesman, who has built a massive house out of crime scenes that houses the ghosts of the victims and is using the souls to power a portal to hell.
And he's Dayton Callie, who's the cancer cop from Sons of Anarchy.
Who's a very good actor.
In Sons of Anarchy,
Yeah.
I thought so. In this movie, he is god-awful.
Right. Well, I'm going to get to that for a second. So, the story of this movie was basically a cross between 13 Ghosts and Silent Hill. It wasn't original, but I thought the story itself was compelling and that it had unfolded interestingly. My problem with the writing is that the dialogue was written in this sort of like antiquated 1920s noir, like, hey, newsy kind of manner.
Yeah, but without an accent.
Yeah, and it was only for the first third of the movie, and then they realized it wasn't working, and then dropped it and hoped that nobody noticed it. But I fucking noticed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was annoying. And the characters were paper fucking thin. With the exception of Lin Shaye and Dayton Callie, the acting was awful. The cop boyfriend was particularly bad. He was like Keanu Reeves on a bad day. And the lead girl was whiny and annoying. Dayton Callie did what he could with what he was given, but he was obviously trying to gild a turd, and like at some point was like, I don't even fucking care anymore.
Yeah.
Lin Shaye, though, I thought did a very good job. And
she
her
always
whole
is about the
pathos.
same. Like, she's good. She's always good. You know that Robert Shaye is her dad, who is the guy who...
Her brother.
Brother?
Yeah.
I thought it was her dad for Produce Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, it's her brother, and she was actually
Really?
the teacher in one of the. I think the first movie she was
Yeah,
the teacher.
Never Sleep Again. It's like 4 hours long. Have you watched that? It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's her. She's a sister. So I'm gonna give the director credit on this movie, though. Even though the acting and the dialogue was rough, I was never bored during the movie, and I think it was paced in a way that pushed the story forward and kept it interesting in spite of the flaws. The special effects, I think, are where you and I are going to differ most. You didn't like the way the CG looked, but I liked that the ghosts were never quite clear. And they were sort of like a staticky image as opposed to an actual full-formed entity. And it made it look like they were more abstractions of the emotions than actually ghosts of the actual individuals. So I thought that kind of gave it an interesting quality.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like just a dude who's... It's not like the Frighteners, where it's just a dude who's a hologram.
Right.
Essentially, it's not like that at all.
Or 13 Ghosts where it's a person or a rubber suit that looks all fucked up.
And I agree with you on that aspect of it, but, dude, it was super CGI to where green screen to where, like, you can tell, even with... And the acting was so bad in this movie that... You could tell that there's nothing there when these people are acting.
Yeah, they weren't reacting to it well.
Yeah, there's no reaction. I hated the CG.
I thought the CG house was also kind of neat, though, because I thought it kind of gave it like a dreamlike quality. Sort of like a not-so-good version of Before I Wake. How it looked a little bit cartoony, but that added to the nightmarish component of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's way over the top.
Mm-hmm.
We can both agree on
Oh,
that,
yeah,
right?
for
This
sure,
movie's
for
completely
sure.
over the top. It's kind of like, he's almost like a Snidely Whiplash kind of...
He's a melodrama villain, for sure. Yeah,
it's definitely way over the top. To me, the opening credits were the best part of the movie. Seriously,
not the closing credits.
The opening credits were awesome.
Yeah, they were.
With the little, the graphics that they had and shit like that.
Yeah.
Started off okay, but this movie is stupid. It has some of the worst ghost CGI I've ever seen. The concept is ridiculous. Acting and the direction, to me, were both bad. It was so boring to me that I began to doze off multiple times, completely sober in the middle of the day.
Huh.
And poor Dayton Callie came off like a pile of shit with a horrible southern accent.
Yeah, his accent was bad.
I loved him in Sons of Anarchy. I'm sure he's a decent actor, but...
He just didn't have much to work with
This
here.
was ungodly.
Yeah.
The two leads aren't much better, and the story is fucking convoluted and bounces around too much.
Yeah. So my final synopsis on it was that bad acting and hollow characters hampered the script that, despite its lack of originality, I thought told an interesting story. It's another movie that I thought did something wrong for everything that it did right. It wasn't a total piece of shit in my opinion, but it definitely could have been better.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I don't remember what our rating system is.
What was it? God.
Suicidal David Blaine's.
Suicidal David Blaine's.
I'm going to give it 5 out of 10 Suicidal David Blaine's.
Well, IMDb gives it a 4.4.
Okay.
Which I think is rather generous. I would have to give it 2.0 Suicidal David Blaine's.
Wow.
I just hated it, man. It was, and I looked forward to it too. And at the very beginning, I thought I was going to like it. Mm-hmm. And as it progressed more and more, it got more ridiculous, and it was over the top, but without a hint of intentional comedy or irony. That's why I didn't
there was
like
no
it.
irony.
It took itself completely serious, but it was way over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah.
If it would have gave it a little bit more of not taking itself so seriously and threw in a little bit of comedy, maybe I would have liked it more. So.
Yeah, maybe I rated it higher because there was the link to Silent Hill and to 13 Ghosts, which are two things that I like a lot.
Yeah.
So I saw those things, and that kind of improved my opinion of it. But I think the idea of building a house out of murder scenes is a pretty original idea.
It is an original idea, yeah. Just to me, the execution wasn't there.
It's based on a comic book, so I'm going to check out the comic book.
You might like that more.
Yeah.
I bet you would.
Yeah.
Because that guy would be over the top in the comic book.
Right.
It's a comic book film.
Yeah.
If it was a comic book style movie, it would have been better.
Right.
Interestingly enough, you bring up Silent Hill. Did you see the link between Kindergarten Cop and Silent Hill?
Yeah.
Floating around? That Silent Hill has images from Kindergarten Cop all over it.
Well, apparently in Japan, because they build their schools different than they do in America, they didn't know, so they use Kindergarten Cop as a reference for how a school should look.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a perfect reference.
Yeah.
My Bad Movie was one of my most anticipated movies of the year.
Oh.
Had it come out 10 years ago, it would probably not be my bad movie, but so much of the same has came out in recent memory. I was excited by the trailer, as I reported on a previous episode, but it just wasn't all I thought it would be. 2016 Austrian horror comedy written and directed by Dominic Hertel, Attack of the Lederhosen Zombies.
Sucks. That was bad?
Yeah, it was bad. Steve, a young professional snowboarder, ruins a high-paying photo shoot with a silly prank of getting naked before he makes his jump. What he didn't know is there's a Make-A-Wish kid there waiting to meet him and sees his schlong.
And this was a bad movie?
No, this was funny.
Okay.
I'll get into why it was bad. This ruins his sponsorship, causing him, his girlfriend Branka, and fellow snowboarder Josh to be left behind on the mountain. Things go from bad to worse when a scientific experiment conducted by a local entrepreneur unleashes an epidemic of zombies and mutant wildlife. Then they must have an epic battle for survival that leads to them having to use their snowboarding skills to defeat the raging ski zombies once and for all.
This doesn't sound like a bad movie at all.
I know it doesn't sound like a bad movie, but the thing is, the reason I'm so harsh on it, I'm tired of zombies.
Yeah.
I'm tired of zombie horror comedies.
Yeah.
Why must all horror comedies be zombies?
Yeah.
It's been fucking played out. They've fucking burned it to the ground and pissed on the ashes.
Yeah.
That's as far as I'm concerned with all the, and some of them are good, like the Scouts versus Zombies was alright.
Zombieland was okay.
Zombieland was okay. Deathgasm was amazing. But all these things, it's just, there's fucking 30 of them. Then you get like fucking Warm Bodies and Night of the Living Dead and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And the fucking...
Shaun of the Dead nailed it, and there's been some good things.
Deathgasm,
some gems out. Cockneys versus Zombies, I think, is one of my favorite zombie
I gotta check that out. I still haven't seen it. But it's just... I'm demoting several points just for it being a zombie comedy.
Right.
Because it's not a bad movie necessarily. It just is nothing new. That's the problem.
It didn't add anything to the genre.
Yeah.
Okay.
It opens up with a dude on a snowmobile coming up to a deer who's chewing on a severed hand. When he approaches the deer, it growls at him, and with a human voice. It's all roar. So that was pretty funny. Then cuts to credits. A scientist is trying to develop a way to fight global warming and making skiing season year-round with his snow machine. When he tries to demonstrate the procedure, it backfires and produces a cloud of green smoke that is inhaled, causing puke and transforming people into the living dead, similar to a ripoff of the tracks in Return of the Living Dead. Mm-hmm. This movie is a collection of ripoffs that are not as good as the original. Right. That's why I'm giving it a bad movie. If you saw it and you've never seen any of these movies, you might like it. But the music in the movie belongs in classic Nintendo games and is awesome.
Okay.
That's the best part. Because of the storm and the fact that there are no buses, the group has to stay at a bar that's celebrating the local end-of-season holiday. Drinks are half off, but there's zombies. There are some good one-liners, like when he kills a zombie with deer horns, he says, "Hey, nice rack." And "Now you see me, now you don't," where a ski pole eye socket stabbing occurs.
Okay.
Now you see me, now you don't.
Right.
But some of the effects are questionable, too, as well. Sometimes there's a trauma-esque spray of blood from wounds that look like a sprinkler. Other times the gore is okay. They tend to use flashing strobe lights and other lighting to disguise the effects. So the gore is not great. My favorite character is the elderly beer wench who runs the tavern. The zombie wildlife were much more entertaining than the same old zombies like the rest of the movie is. My problem is that horror zombie comedy is just dead.
Yeah.
After Shaun of the Dead, we had a barrage of scouts, Nazis, Twinkie lovers, and just about anything you can think of. Nothing new or revolutionary, and doesn't do much to set it apart from the rest. It's like a combination of Dead Snow, Shaun of the Dead, and snowboarding. The gore at the third act is a lot better than the first two acts, and it culminates almost like it wants to be Dead Alive with the amounts of over-the-top gore.
Movies like this need to have good special effects.
Yeah.
That's
at the end it does.
Huh.
But it just can't quite get there to where it wants to be. IMDb gives it a 4.3 out of 10, and although it is not bad, it's nowhere near Deathgasm. That was a horror comedy with zombies like demons. The humor was far better, it was much more unique, and the comparison between Lederhosen and Deathgasm is so far that when I give Deathgasm a 10, this has to be more like a 6.4 out of 10.
Okay.
I love horror comedies. It's my favorite genre, as you know, but with Deathgasm and The Greasy Strangler setting the bar so high in the past couple of years, the grading curve has definitely changed. I could let this go and get away with it 6 years ago and be like, yeah, that was awesome, because there wasn't Greasy Strangler. There wasn't Deathgasm. The shit has evolved. It's not a horrible movie, but if you're tired of the same formula like I am, you know, you can skip it. If not, give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think. If you like it and you think I'm full of shit, you can email us at postmortemshow@gmail.com and say, I love this fucking movie.
Right. Yeah, you know, like when you're adding to the genre, they're just like Zombievers. Zombievers was a great movie.
Yeah, because it was different.
Because they added something different to it.
Yeah.
I mean, even, you know, Deathgasm added the heavy metal aspect and the demon aspect, you know, and
yeah, Deathgasm took from a lot of movies,
Yeah.
but it also, you know, made it good. And there were so many moving parts of that movie. You had the girl.
Yeah.
You had the dildos.
yeah,
You had the band.
right,
You had the nod to heavy metal, like 80s heavy metal.
yeah.
So much more to offer than this movie had.
Yeah, for sure.
So, 6.4 out of 10. Not the worst movie I've ever reviewed by any means. And you might like it. Maybe you should watch it and let me know what you think. But
So 0.4 of a suicidal David Blaine is like what actually happened to him.
yeah, he didn't really die.
Right.
Some broken metal in his mouth. Worse has happened to me in pretty much almost every match I've ever been in.
Right. Fucking pussy. Pussy ass
Pussy ass
Blaine.
David Blaine. That's what the rating system is now. Pussy ass David Blaine.
Right.
Can't even commit suicide, right? You fucking failure.
Tried to shoot yourself in the head and you shot yourself in the hair. Now you just got a permanent part.
All right, let's get to the good movie.
Yeah. So, my good movie is a 2016 supernatural horror directed by Billy O'Brien, available streaming now on Netflix, called I Am Not a Serial Killer.
Yeah.
I went into this movie knowing nothing about it except that it was a horror movie starring Christopher Lloyd, which is something that I've always wanted. And I was pleasantly surprised by it. And I hope that Christopher Lloyd sees a career resurgence out of this movie and maybe becomes like this generation's Vincent Price.
He's looking really old, though, dude.
Right.
He's looking pretty old and decrepit.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to probably be 2017, 2018 death.
But, he was supposed to, too, for this movie. So,
yeah, for sure. So
yeah.
maybe it is him being a good actor,
Yeah.
but I really liked it.
Yeah. The synopsis is that an outcast teenager with sociopathic tendencies fights his urges to hurt people while trying to live a quote-unquote normal life. His will is put to the test when he discovers that the serial killer that's been terrorizing the small town where he lives might be his neighbor, and even worse, that the killer may not be entirely human.
And he kills it. Max Records is the actor's name is Max Records.
Yeah.
He needs to be a professional wrestler or a porn star.
Right, yeah.
Max Records.
Or a DJ.
Max Records. Here with the top 5 singles of the week.
Another Max Records production. I thought the story of this movie was excellent. It was original, it was compelling. The writer obviously did his work on the psychological aspects because he depicted a sociopath accurately. And the back and forth between the kid trying to thwart the killer while simultaneously trying to understand the killer.
Yeah, and being like a friend to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all in all a very solid story. And the characters were great. There was this cool kind of moral ambiguity that was laced into all of it. Like, the good guy wasn't entirely good and the bad guy wasn't entirely bad.
Yeah, and that's the whole premise of the movie.
Yeah.
I like at the beginning, he's a misfit in a small town. He gets obsessed with serial killers. And he gets in trouble in school for turning in a paper on Dennis Rader, the BTK killer.
Yeah.
And gets diagnosed as sociopath.
Yeah. And really, the core of this movie is that both the kid and the killer just want to be normal people despite their nature. Christopher Lloyd fucking owns his role.
The effects and the monster aspect of it, something we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Completely unique with the hand thing.
Yeah.
We're not going to spoil the whole movie for you guys, but it's something new.
Yeah.
And which is refreshing. That's why it's much better than Attack of the Lederhosen Zombies.
Christopher Lloyd conveys this frailty in his character, but also like absolute menace. He was born to play horror roles, and I don't know why he hasn't done it until now.
Yeah.
Like, that guy can do fucking dead-eyed, scary psycho so well.
And he's such a sympathetic character when he needs to be.
Yeah. The director went with a magical realism feel, so everything was very plainly lit and very concrete, which made the weirder elements of the movie stand out even more. Like, when I first started watching it, I thought it was going to be another dry, shitty indie film, and then things got real weird real quick.
Yeah, and a good sense of humor as well.
Yeah, very much so. You mentioned the special effects. A lot of them were CG, but it was still solid because he used quick cuts and obscuring angles to make sure that nothing was obvious.
There's some practical gore in there, too, that is good. And while I love this movie a lot, it does get a little heavy-handed in the third act, trying to take itself a little too seriously. Yeah. But even with its flaws, it's refreshing to have a brand new type of monster rather than bullshit zombies and vampires like most movies lately. Yeah. And the lead was both sympathetic and a little crazy, so I really enjoyed it a lot.
I hated the music.
I don't remember it. It didn't stand out to me.
It was that fucking shitty indie band score that every indie movie uses. And it did nothing to heighten anything. It did nothing to, like, stand out. Every time the music... I don't like it when they're trying to build a mood in a scene, and then there's lyrics.
Yeah,
and
I like my horror movie music without lyrics as well. That's why I love the '80s horror movie music so much.
Yeah, there
builds a fucking mood, and not talks about things that have nothing to do. If the lyrics were about what's happening in the scene, maybe that would work out.
Yeah, and
I got a black hand. I'm gonna get you.
I've seen movies where they do that, and it works. It worked in Excision. The music was annoying, but the lyrics were part of the story.
I liked the music in Excision because it was like that. But
this was not like that.
No, it wasn't. That's probably the greatest flaw in this movie. Yeah. Other than it getting a little too emotional and heavy-handed towards the third act. That was the only problem with me, is those two things. Yeah.
So. All in all, though, very good movie. I'm surprised it didn't get more hype. I strongly recommend that anyone watch it ASAP. The writing is quality, the acting, the directing, the storytelling across the board is quality. And I'm looking forward to more from Billy O'Brien.
And it's streaming now on Netflix, so if you guys haven't heard of this thing, check it out.
Yeah. I had actually skipped it a couple times because I thought I'm Not a Serial Killer was a stupid title.
Yeah.
But then I saw Christopher Lloyd was in it, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to
That's what sold me, too. Yeah. And the fact that that's the title, it's a good title if you know the movie. It's a bad title if you don't know the movie, but with his, everyone thinks it's him at first because he's always at the crime scenes, and he's the fucking misfit sociopath kid. Yeah. So.
You know what the movie should have just been called was Christopher Lloyd's Floppy Hand. That's what it should have been called.
The Black Hand of Christopher Lloyd.
So I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 pussy-ass David Blaine's.
He had black hand instead of black face.
Yeah. It's not quite as offensive.
It's not as offensive, but it's still a little weird. You said 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty close to you. IMDb gives it 6.2. I gave it 7.1.
Okay.
Pussy-ass David Blaine's. I'm sorry to step on both of your reviews, but I've seen a lot of movies.
Right.
I was sick for a while, and I watched fucking 20 movies. That's all I did. So I'm fucking. I got a lot to say about a lot of movies. A lot in the spank bank. My good movie is fucking awesome. You'll like it a lot. I hope our listeners like it as much as I do, and as much as I know that you will. 2015, streaming now on Netflix, so you can check it out while it's still there. Written and directed by Ben Kreshiman. Cresciman. Don't know how to... Kreshiman?
I think that's right, yeah.
Starring Sarah Hagen of Freaks and Geeks and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Malakul Lane, and the iconic Barbara Crampton of Reanimator, From Beyond, and so much more.
Nice.
And delivers much more than Beyond the Gates.
Nice.
Yes. She's in the movie a lot more, too. It's called Sunchoke.
Sunchoke. Okay, yeah, you'd mentioned that.
Yeah. Janie's just trying to get well. As she recovers from a violent psychotic break, she's subjected each day to a bizarre health and wellness regimen designed and enforced by her lifelong nanny and caretaker. She begins to veer off the road to recovery when she develops an obsession with a young woman to whom she feels an inexplicable yet profound connection. The obsession turns increasingly invasive and wedges all three women into an ever-tightening and progressively terrifying struggle for control. Will Janie pull herself back from the precipice of insanity or go over headfirst, taking anyone nearby down with her?
Wow.
This movie is insane. It really reminds me of Cronenberg and David Lynch.
Okay.
Like that kind of aspect. Like it's got that impending sense of dread. It's got the slow, methodic pacing that gives you the sense that shit is really going to hit the fan sometimes. You're just waiting for something to happen. And it is slow paced, which some people might like, and it does clock in at almost 2 hours.
Okay.
But Hagen nails the off-putting and disturbed character of Janie. Mental illness played out right here.
Nice. Is Barbara Crampton the nanny?
Crampton is the nanny, and terrifying as the overbearing nanny who basically tortures Hagen in addition to her bizarre New Age holistic remedies. She puts a tuning fork in her mouth and smacks it, vibrating her teeth and skull and causing extreme pain, and keeps saying, "Sun choke. Sun choke."
I've done that to myself before with a tuning fork on the teeth.
Did it suck?
It hurt so bad.
It's never explained what the fuck sun choke means.
Okay.
She just says that when it's going. There's a series of flashbacks to her childhood and her psychotic break, and it does bounce around sometimes between past and present, which is a little hard to follow, but definitely forgivable. Both Crampton and Janie are disturbing characters you would not want to have in your life, while Lane is a sympathetic and smoking hot character.
Nice.
Janie's obsession starts when she sees Savannah driving. She follows her home and just watches her through the window for days. She just was always there. She even comes out to the car and says, "Are you okay?" at one point, you know? Mm-hmm. And she just like freezes up. So she ends up breaking into her house to touch her things and uses her shower. But the obsession intensifies when she sees her fucking her boyfriend one night. And that's all it takes. The movie goes directions you can't expect from that point, but in ways that are so well done and much different than your standard fare.
Nice.
Excellent practical gore and violence that is sudden and out of nowhere and very realistic. Torture scenes are unique and not the same shit we see in every other movie. In my opinion, Sarah Malakal Lane delivers the best nude scene in years.
She was in something else that we watched recently, wasn't she?
She was in Beyond the Gates. Yeah. And but a bunch of other shit, but that nude scene though, you gotta watch the movie just for that.
Sweet.
Visual style and cinematography are excellent. It's very artsy, almost like a little bit less artsy Neon Demon, where things actually happen.
Okay.
So it's got that kind of style. It's very highly stylized.
So that style is good as long as things happen.
Yeah.
That
was the problem with Neon Demon.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
But if you look at like Beyond the Black Rainbow, shit happens in that movie.
Yeah. I actually watched it twice over the course of about 2 weeks because I had to come back to it.
Nice.
Despite me watching all these other movies that I've watched recently, I had to watch it again. It would be in my top 10 movies of the last 2 years, if not top 5. This is the second film Kresheman has directed and the third he has written. So he's new. Mm-hmm. You know, 3 films written, 2 directed.
Was this other stuff horror?
No, not at all. But he has this shit figured out.
Nice.
He's got that style, the direction, the writing. I can't wait to see what he does next. IMDb gives it a 6.1, which I think is a little low. I would have to give it an 8.7. Pathetic ass David Blaine's.
Nice.
So
I'll go home and watch that tonight.
Yeah. Check it out. It's on Netflix. You guys let us know what you think. postmortemshow@gmail.com. But don't write us a whole novel, because that's what our top 5 list is.
Novel. Oh, that was a good segue there.
Oh.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm professional.
If you hear,
ladies and gentlemen,
if you hear crinkling and crunching in the background, it's because Aubrey made these candied walnuts that are fucking excellent. And
so Dom has to eat during this broadcast.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to be... I thought I was the least professional at cracking beers and drinking.
No, I gotta...
hiccuping.
I gotta eat nuts.
Dom has to have nuts in his face at all times.
Yeah.
And with that said...
This is the sound of my nutsack.
With that said, we'll be back. This episode of the Post Mortem Show is brought to you by the venue for our live show, Leisure Time Games.
Leisure Time Games is located in the Santa Maria Town Center Mall downstairs, 159 Town Center East, Santa Maria, California. Or check them out online at www.leisuretimagames.com.
For all your collectible card game trading needs,
comic books.
Dom
Cthulhu
got
Yahtzee.
Cthulhu Yahtzee. I can't wait. That's as soon as we are done with this commercial, we're gonna go back in there. We're gonna play some Cthulhu Yahtzee to celebrate.
I don't even know how to play Yahtzee, but it was a Cthulhu thing, so I bought it.
Yeah. And now back to some more Post-Mortem.
And we're back
with the top 5 horror movies based on books.
Yeah.
I kind of went in places that I don't want to throw out the traditional movies that everyone knows it's based on the books that everyone loves. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to inform our listeners about some movies that maybe they haven't seen before. So for that reason, it's not the traditional top 5 for me where it's the best 5. It's just my top 5 horror movies based on books that I think people will like, that deserve to be seen, and may not have been seen.
Okay.
So.
I kept my list to books that I'd actually read, because I didn't want to recommend a movie that was based on a book and then you read the book and the movie sucks or something like that.
Yeah.
So I went with ones where the movie at least holds up to the book or is better than it in some cases.
I have read all of my top 5 except for my number 2, but it's so good that, and it doesn't get enough press. We've talked about it before, but it deserves to be talked about. To our listeners that have not heard about it, I want people to watch this fucker. So it was that good. So all right. You want to start us off?
Yeah. I'm starting with Nightbreed, which is based on Cabal by Clive Barker.
Yes, amazing book, amazing movie.
Yeah, great movie, and holds up well to its source material. It stays very, very true to the original.
And as a movie, it holds up as well. I mean, there's some questionable electrical CGI and that kind of stuff, but
it was the 80s, though.
Yeah, but even with all that considered, I think it was good.
Yeah,
so
very solid movie, very solid book. I still think that the book story is a little bit better than the movie because the movie left out some things that I thought were really cool in the book. But if we get the Nightbreed miniseries that they're talking about making, then maybe
have we talked about it in Horror News?
I think we have. I think we mentioned it a while back.
I have no recollection.
Yeah,
I get hit in the head a lot. So.
That's true.
I would love that if they had a fucking Nightbreed show because there's so many more stories that could be told in Midian.
Yeah.
So. That's awesome. Yeah, I love Nightbreed, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, on Netflix, there's the director's cut.
Yep.
So check it out.
And the sequel with Dr. Doubledecker.
Yeah, Dr. Doubledecker and his son Tripledecker. And the grandson 4x4. My number 5 is a movie that is okay. The movie's okay. The book is fucking excellent, but I couldn't make a top 5 about books without including my favorite author, Rath James White.
Right.
And the book is called The Resurrectionist. The movie is called Come Back to Me. Have you seen it?
I have not.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's now on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime, I believe. And it's the most refreshing take on, not zombies. I don't know how to explain it without ruining everything for you. But basically, there's a man who can kill people and breathe life back into them.
Okay.
And he uses that to rape and torture them repeatedly over and over. When he brings them back to life, they have no recollection of these events, but they're forever traumatized.
Oh, yeah, you reviewed that movie not too long ago.
I think maybe I told you about it. I don't think I talked about it on the show. Maybe I talked about it on the show, but not as an actual review.
Okay.
But the movie itself is a decent horror movie. The book is one of my favorite books of all time. It's my second favorite of his books. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. But I'll put it on the list because the movie is good enough to warrant being on the list. But I really want you guys to read the book. If you're into reading horror, check out The Resurrectionist by Rath James White.
They're called revenants when they come back from the dead, but they're not like zombies.
Revenant.
Yeah, the term is revenant. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they get eaten by bears.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
They climb large electrical towers and go. They float on boards.
Big boy's gotta watch themselves.
They dry you like they're French girls. Okay,
all right.
Four.
My number 4. You got to talk about Stephen King if we're going to have a list about this, and I'm not going to talk about The Shining because I have a contentious relationship with The Shining. But excuse me, I've got a 3-way tie for my 3 favorite Stephen King books turned movies because there are really only 3 of his horror books, not counting Shawshank Redemption and all that, or Stand By Me, where the book and the movie really jived, and that's Needful Things, Misery, and The Mist. Yeah. It's my 3-way tie.
I love Needful Things.
Yeah.
I love it.
Great.
Leland Gaunt, he fucking nails it. Max von Sydow, he's one of the truest to book actor characters ever of all time.
Apparently he read the book several times just to get the character down. Excuse me. Great movie. Misery's another one where Kathy Bates just owns it.
Are you choking on nuts again?
No, that's my cold.
Oh, okay.
Choking on nuts. And The Mist is one of the movies where the movie deviates from the book, but it deviates in a way that actually is better than the story.
Yeah. Misery is good. I don't like Kathy Bates.
Really?
Yeah, I in that movie she's good, but I just don't like her for some reason.
Huh. I think she's a really good actress. I like it.
I'll let her get in my hot tub. Yeah, Stephen King, he's not on my list because that's like one of the go-tos.
Right.
You know, I have another go-to on my list, which I'm going to get into right now.
Okay.
With my number 4. My number 4 is streaming now on Netflix as well. I try to get a lot of basically all of mine are streaming on some kind of platform now, except for a couple of them. But my number 4 is Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz.
Okay, I love the movie. I never read the book.
The book is amazing.
Nice.
And it's a series. There's 5 of them now.
Uh-huh.
And the first 2 are amazing. 3 is pretty good. And then it kind of gets a little bit stretched, you know, as far as the concept is, getting a little old and recycling. You know, Dean Koontz is one of those writers, just like Stephen King, that will write a book in 1970, 1980, and then in 2000 something, he'll write another book stealing all the concepts of that book.
Right.
You know,
He's got a formula.
Both of those are known for, you know. And but Odd Thomas, what an iconic character! Such a great character. The whole movie is great.
Really well played by Anton Yelchin. In the movie.
Poor Anton Yelchin. I wish he was still with us because he killed it in Green Room and he killed it as Odd Thomas. I think that Odd Thomas would have been a series if that was the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, but check it out now. Streaming now. Odd Thomas.
My number 3 is based not only on a book but also a comic book. The book is Delamort Delamore, and the comic book series is Dylan Dog, both by Tiziano Sclavi, Cemetery Man.
Wow, you said Dylan Dog, and I thought there's that Dylan Dog Dead of Night film.
Fuck that movie.
Is that based on the same thing?
It's shit.
Cemetery Man is awesome.
Yeah, Cemetery Man is fantastic.
But Dylan Dog Dead of Night was fucking horrible.
Yeah, awful
So you
movie.
said Dylan Dog, I didn't even know they were based on the same thing.
Yeah, they were Harry Delamore. I think his name was Harry. Anyway, Rupert Everett's character is a character also in the Dylan Dog comic book series.
Okay.
But then he had the Delamore book written about him, all created by the same guy. And yeah, Cemetery Man is a fantastic fucking movie. Great mindfuck of a movie.
Yeah, it's good.
And the book is very true to the book. I believe that the author was actually involved in writing the screenplay and in production of the movie, and he insisted on keeping it very true to the source material. Yeah, very good across the board.
My number 3, although it has a lot of 1995 questionable CGI, it's by the same author as my number 4, Dean Koontz. Hideaway, starring Jeff Goldblum.
He wrote that?
Yeah.
I didn't know he wrote that.
Yeah, and Jeremy Sisto, when he was very young, playing the iconic crazy character.
Yeah, I like
does
that movie.
very well. Yeah, it's a good fucking adaptation. It's pretty true to the book. I mean, there's some liberties taken, but yeah, it's a good fucking movie about Hatch Harrison, who has a traffic accident with his car. The doctors say he was dead, but they succeeded in bringing him back to life after 2 hours. But he has strange sensations in the following times, and discovers that now his mind is binded with a madman.
Yeah, really good movie. Jeff Goldblum carries that movie.
Yeah.
Special effects for the time are good, but you go back and watch it now, and it does not hold up.
It's like Alicia Silverstone's first movie as the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking good. But the book is so much better.
Nice.
We said, they got to be good movies at least.
Yeah.
They don't have to be as good as the book, because that's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Hardly any movie is as good as the book, if
Right.
you're going to be honest. But
Yeah.
it's a good movie.
Yeah.
The book's better. Check it out. Hideaway, 1995. I don't know where the fuck you can find it.
Internet.
I have the DVD.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty scratched, but it still plays.
Nice. My number 2 is a recent book, actually, written in the last 10 years, and the movie came out pretty much the same time the book came out, and that's John Dies at the End, the book written by David Wong, and the movie also written by him.
I didn't know that was a book. I've never seen it at all.
Yeah.
I saw the beginning. I just never got through it. I did not think it was bad or anything. I just forgot about it.
Okay.
That's good, huh?
Yeah, David Wong was one of the writers for Cracked magazine at the pinnacle of or Cracked.com. When Cracked.com was at its pinnacle before it got sort of into just a bunch of clickbait bullshit that it is now. And David Wong was one of the particularly funny writers, and he wrote this book, John Dies at the End, which is a horror comedy book. It's basically Lovecraftian comedy. And the movie, he was involved in the production of it from beginning to end. He didn't direct it, but he produced it and wrote the screenplay and everything. And it's extremely true to the book.
Wow.
Like, you can pretty much...
It's still on Netflix, streaming
Yeah.
now on Netflix,
Yeah.
right? Maybe I should check that fucker out. I've put it off for a long time. I thought it was going to be good. It's got 5 stars, and Netflix thinks I'd like it 5 stars, so it's got to be pretty good. But...
Really good horror comedy, lots of good dick jokes. It's very funny.
I'll probably watch that tonight. I'm still stuck on the X-Files, though.
Yeah, me too.
I just finished the Gender Bender, you know?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's where I'm at right now.
The transsexual Amish.
Yeah.
That sounds like a band.
Yeah. That's a good gimmick band. You know, you dress up like transsexual Amish people.
Beards and bonnets.
You have to play acoustic, though, because, you know, you're Amish.
Yeah. There's this band in the 90s called the Electric Amish. And they dressed up like Amish dudes and played like surf rock. But like all of their songs were like jokes about being Amish, and it was like stupid like dad jokes.
That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome, yeah. My dad has a CD.
I imagine he does.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
You guys are so fucking different. You guys are polar opposites as far as politically and stuff like that. But when it comes to a good dick joke, that transcends generations.
Across the board. Yeah, we're very identical in some ways and very different in other ways. Yeah.
My number 2, based on a book called 59 Degrees and Raining by Barry Gifford. Perdita Durango.
Oh, yeah.
It's a book.
Yeah, it is.
I gotta read that fucking book, because that movie is awesome. And that was a fucking hidden gem. I never heard of it.
Yeah.
And I reviewed it here on this here little podcast we call the Post Mortem Show. Mm-hmm. And then we watched it, and you fucking loved that movie just as much as I do.
And I did see when I was doing my research for this that it was based on a book.
I haven't read the book. It's the only book I haven't read, so I need to fucking check it out. Perdita Durango.
Fucking fantastic movie.
What about we take a plane? I'll get a hotel room for 3 days, and I can suck at least like 50 dicks, and I'll split the profit with you.
That's the opening of the movie.
Yeah. Strong opening for Rosie Perez.
And for my money, Rosie Perez, fucking smoking hot.
Yeah?
On par with Salma Hayek in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, yeah.
I might even take her because she's dirtier.
Yeah, she's more crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's my number 2, Perdita Durango. You guys gotta fucking see it. It's also called Dance with the Devil in the English version.
Yeah.
But I watched this movie dubbed over in English, or dubbed over in Spanish with English subtitles. This is a movie in English.
Yeah.
The first version I saw was Spanish language with English subtitles, and I still loved it that much.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I could tell it was a little off, but then I saw the original version, and it was even better. But I liked it. I even liked it with Spanish language dub with English subtitles, even though the actors are speaking English.
Yeah. Javier Bardem plays a fantastic psychopath in that movie. He does,
yeah.
Really good movie, and it's one of those Bonnie and Clyde kind of stories, but like with the ante ramped up.
And you got Screaming Jay Hawkins.
Can't go wrong. My number 1 is a movie that I've talked a lot about, but it goes. I need to drive home how good this movie is, and actually how good the book is too. And that's The Exorcist 3, based on the book Legion, both the book written and the movie directed by William Peter Blatty.
Peter Blatty.
I gotta, a lot of people haven't seen this movie, and a lot of people passed on it because they saw The Exorcist 2.
Yeah.
And was like, this movie's a piece of shit. 3 must be terrible.
Yeah.
But Exorcist 2 was Bill Friedkin saying,
Billiam.
I did such a good job with the first Exorcist, I can write my own sequel and direct it. And fell flat. Yeah. But The Exorcist 3 is a great movie, and Legion is actually a better book than The Exorcist is a book.
I've never even read The Exorcist. Yeah. On my honorable mentions, because I know it's based on a book.
Yeah.
But
The Exorcist is a good book, but Legion is a much better book. And I think Exorcist is still a better movie than Exorcist 3, but Exorcist 3 is very good. Very strong performances by George C. Scott and Brad Dourif. And they bring back the actor who played Father Merrin, Jason something or other. He was good in this one again. Or not Merrin.
I gotta rewatch that.
Father Karras.
Father May-I, played by
Leslie
Nielsen.
Right.
My number 1 is a 3-way tie between 3 books by the same author that all of the adaptations are good, and I'll rank them as I see. So, part 1, or part 3, I say, if we're counting down, is Offspring by Jack Ketchum. Great fucking movie. awesome book.
Yeah, a really surprisingly good movie. Had never heard of it until you showed it to me.
Yeah, good, and the book's even better, especially off-season, the first book. Number 2, The Girl Next Door.
Good movie. Haven't read the book.
The book's fucking way better than the movie, but the movie's still really good. That actress that plays her nailed it. That plays the old lady nailed it because she's exactly how I imagined her from the book in my head, and she's creepy as fuck and brutal. And number 1, part 1, is The Woman.
Yeah.
The sequel to The Offspring, which is a sequel to Off-Season. So that's actually the third book and the second movie. They never made the first movie or first book into a movie, which is kind of weird to me. But The Woman, so iconic.
Great
the fucking
movie.
dad,
Yeah.
the daughter, the mom, the son, the actual woman.
The
All
way-
these characters are so fucking well fleshed out. Like,
The way the story kind of evolves.
You
too,
can tell that this movie is based on a book because the characters are so well written.
Yeah.
And evolved.
For sure.
These are characters that can exist in the real world and that you would fucking hate. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
I hate them all.
Yeah.
For various reasons.
I feel like you can see the woman without seeing the offspring, but seeing the offspring beforehand still adds like a whole other dimension to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because she goes from being the bad guy to being the sympathetic character.
Yeah, The Woman is a much superior movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the book is good as well, but Off-Season, the first book, is still my favorite. I would rank them... Number 1 is Off-Season, and then a tie between The Woman and Offspring, as far as the books. But as far as the movies go, The Woman, hands down, was better than Offspring.
Yeah. And then there's the Jersey Devil episode of The X-Files.
That is kind of the same. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys haven't read some Jack Ketchum, you need to read some fucking Jack Ketchum. He's one of the most iconic authors to me. He's my second favorite author of all time, behind Wrath James White, only because he's not as intense. Wrath James White is the most disgusting author I've ever read.
Right.
And beating out Edward Lee, which says something.
Right.
But
I've never read Wrath James White. I need to read him because if he's more disgusting than Bret Easton Ellis in American Psycho...
I'm going to send you home with something.
Cool.
I'm going to send you home with my favorite book ever by Wrath James White, called Succulent Prey.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
But I need it back.
Right.
I have the first pressing. But I'm going to send you home with it.
All right.
But yeah, if you guys haven't seen these movies, check them out. Read some fucking Jack Ketchum. Read a book.
Read a
we're
book,
a horror
motherfucker.
we're a horror movie podcast, but open up some. You know what about reading? What's so good about reading? You're looking at cuttings from a tree with ink on them, and they make you hallucinate vividly.
Kind of like acid.
Yeah.
Take a look. It's in a book. A Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
This episode is brought to you by LeVar Burton.
It's brought to you by LeVar Burton, Reading Rainbow, and Star Trek.
And was it the rug dusters? What were you calling them?
Pelt dusters.
Pelt dusters.
Dust off those pelts with your good old Post Mortem Biff head pelt dusters. Now with Seagull, Raven, Crow, they have different feathers.
Yeah.
Different flavors in Post Mortem pelt dusters.
Nice. Expanding. Get some flamingo feathers.
Honorable mentions.
30 Days of Night was a graphic novel, not a book, but still very good graphic novel, decent movie.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, at that point, vampires were the zombies of today.
Right.
Like, the vampires went through their little thing where it's vampires.
Yeah,
you
but it
know,
was a
zombies,
unique
zombies.
take on vampires.
It was, yeah, and I like the Alaska concept.
Yeah.
It made sense. So.
Yeah. American Psycho goes without saying. The only reason it didn't make my list is because it's too fucking obvious. Great book, great movie. They diverged in two completely different directions, but each one was excellent in its own right. And then two that I haven't read the book, but I learned that these movies were based on books. Audition was based on a graphic novel by someone named Ryo Miyazaki.
Yeah, it's on my honorable mentions too. I didn't know that either.
And Pontypool was based on a book called Pontypool Changes Everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to read that book.
I think that the Pontypool book is probably better than the movie. The movie's excellent, but thinking back, watching that movie, it could have been a book. You know, like some movies, it's like you could tell this is based on a book. And, and then watching it, I didn't know, but now looking back, it seems like it would be.
It felt like a stage play to me. Like it could have been a stage play that was adapted into
limited
a movie.
storytelling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are good. Some good honorable mentions. Mine are more traditional. Got first off one that not a lot of people know about, but I love this movie. I've seen it a shitload of times, and it's not scary, it's not gory, but it's Black River by Dean Koontz, starring Jay Moore.
Yeah,
Little well told.
of all people.
Yeah, well told story.
Yeah,
very good about technology. It could have been an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah,
I really like it a lot. And The Shining by Stephen King, of course.
Duh.
Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. The original Frankenstein from the 30s still holds up.
Yeah.
It's one of the only ones out of the Phantom and the Creature.
Definitely
and
the best,
Dracula. Yeah. It's the best of all of those. So, Battle Royale is a book by Koshin Takamine. Pontypool. Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris.
Second horror book I ever read.
Really?
First was The Shining.
Yeah. You're way ahead. I read like 30 Dean Koontz books before I read anything by any other author horror related.
Wow.
When I was a kid, my mom had a shitload of Dean Koontz books. She loved Dean Koontz. And I started reading them, and that's what got me into reading. Mm-hmm. I did a book report on The Face of Fear about the serial killer, the butcher who rapes and kills women in a high-rise. And
Nice. How'd that go over?
It went over fine. I'm surprised. Nowadays, I would have been thrown into the fucking psych ward.
Right.
The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty. Nightbreed, Cabal, Clive Barker. Hellraiser, The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker.
Another good story.
Yep. Candyman, The Forbidden, Clive Barker. A Stir of Echoes, Richard Matheson. Stir of Echoes is a great movie.
Yeah, very good.
And I haven't read the book, and I want to.
Yeah,
I feel like the book would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. American Psycho, Bret Easton Ellis. And my last one. The seldom talked about on this here podcast. And always banned. Just kidding. Reanimated.
Yes.
By H.P. Lovecraft.
You know what just came to my mind is, have you seen the movie Something Wicked This Way Comes?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Based on the Ray Bradbury story?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I gotta go back and maybe we should watch that one for Nostalgia Killers or something.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
I auditioned for the play. They were doing the play when I was in high school. I auditioned for the role of Mr. Dark. Didn't get it because they gave it to some guy who was like in his 40s, which made sense, not a 16-year-old kid. And that was actually the first time I'd ever seen the movie. I didn't know that it existed. I only knew it existed as the book. Yeah, I'd like to go back and watch that one again.
I want to show that to my kids. I haven't shown them yet, and I think they'd really enjoy it.
You should show them that and The Watcher in the Woods.
Yeah.
Watcher in the Woods is fucking good.
Yeah, it's
not based on a book, but
yeah.
like those are two movies that I just kind of associate with each other.
They're kind of together.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
I'm all learned it out.
Yeah, I feel like I took a class.
Yeah, I'm going to go read after this.
Nice. I'm going to go home and watch Sunjoke.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to watch Sunjoke. I think you're really going to like it. I'm not going to read. I'm going to drink beer and watch John dies at the end.
Right. You're home by yourself. You should,
Yeah.
I don't know what you do. What you do when you're home by yourself. Whatever it is
You don't want to know.
Yeah, probably not.
You don't want to know.
It's probably better for legal purposes, too.
I got a whole jar of mayonnaise and time on my hands.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
That's it.
Yeah. As H.P. Lovecraft once said, and we're going to leave it at that because he wrote a fuck ton of stories. If it smells like fish,
Throw the fucker back and film it.